This lecture, I will show you how to download and install Unity. If somehow you already have Unity on your computer, then you can skip this lecture. All right, so I'm going to any web browsers. I'm going to use Google Chrome here, and I'm going to just type on Google, download Unity. That's it. It's that easy, and that will be the first link. Let me show you this link right here, unity3d.com, get Unity download. Just click on it, and then once you're on that page, on the top right corner, you have a Get Unity button. You just have to click here, or you can just click here, choose your Unity plus download. That's just another way of doing it. All right, so it's asking you here what type of Unity you want. Now, if you've never used Unity, I advise you to go with Personal, and then you can upgrade later on. And the Personal version is totally free to use. Now, it's not a trick, but they're going to ask you to create a username and password using an email. So make sure you create your user account. Click on download now and download the installer. All right, so meanwhile, what you could do is also just sign in. So you could click here and create a Unity ID. All right, in the top right corner, create a Unity ID. And that's what you will use to log in inside of Unity. All right, so now I have the Unity installer running, and it will work whether you have a Mac, a PC, or Linux. Then double click on the Unity Download Assistant. It's coming from the web, so there's just a security that's asking me. Next step, it's asking me to continue, just basically telling me what's happening here. And then click on continue. Here, this is the license, agree to the license, and continue. All right, agree. Then here, select the components that you want to install. Now, the components that you want to install are obviously, you definitely need the Unity 5.4, which is my current version. You probably have any other version. It could be 5.5, it could be 5.6, or even Unity 6, right, and so on. So you have to have that. You have to have the documentation. So it's always good if you're starting. Add the standard asset. It's always good. You can then add the example project. But something you must have is that if you are on if you want to publish to the app stores, you have to have and select the Android, iOS, and tvOS, and Linux, and so on. If somehow you forget to do to check these boxes, and later on you want to install them because you want to publish to tvOS or iOS or Android, then you need to come back to re-download the installer and do this again. Okay, that's an important step. Many people don't know how to get this back, so you have to come back here and download them this way. Once you have selected them, you can click on continue. And by the way, if you have a lot of room on your computer, just select everything, not a problem. Click on continue, then log in. It's going to verify, and your next step is where you want to have it, okay? And then it's going to download and install. So I'm just gonna stop here because it's pretty straightforward. All right, now my next step is to show you how to open Unity. It's pretty straightforward. You can go in the top right and click on the search, and then search for Unity. That's on Mac, and it will appear right away. It's the one with this icon. If you don't have a Mac, and you can go to, on Windows, you go to Program Files, and you'll find it right there. It's very easy and straightforward. All right, and by the way, when you launch Unity the very first time, it's going to ask you to log in just so that you can use it. And here, click on the sign in button here, and use the username and password that you've used whenever you downloaded Unity, the Unity ID that I told you earlier, okay? All right, familiar with the Unity user interface. But before getting there, make sure you start Unity by going to your program files on Windows and opening Unity, or on Mac in the top right corner, you can search or go to your applications and locate Unity. Now, this is the basic screen you all should have. If you don't, that is not a problem. This is a splash screen. You can click on New. All right, so this is what you do. You click on New here. If you don't see this screen, not a problem. You can go under File and then New Scene. Now, the reason why I do not see New for myself is because I already have this Unity open. Now, if I somehow close it, I can go back to Unity and I could do File New. All right, but mine, as you can see, always open this. So don't worry about it. You should have this. If not, you can always do File, Open Project, or New Project. All right, so whenever you click on New here on this button, this opens or creates a new project for you. So click there. Now it's going to ask you what name of the project you want and so on. So let's do this. All right, so here it's asking a few different options. First, it's asking if you want a 3D project or a 2D project. Now, the difference between 3D and 2D, I'm not going to go too much on it, but I'm sure you guys should know. A 2D is just like a piece of paper, it's flat and mostly like cartoons, and 3D is more like Pixar animated graphics, something that you can move around, first-person shooters. Most of the games nowadays are in 3D, and simpler games are in 2D. So just for the sake of learning, let's start with 2D because it's easier to deal with 2 dimensions than 3 dimensions. All right, let's give it a name. Instead of the project name to be New Unity Project, call it My First Project. And then here is the location where you want this. So click on the 3 dots next to it and go ahead and put it somewhere that you know you want your projects to be. Now on the Mac, they always go inside of your usually downloads folder or wherever you were last. I'm going to go inside of my course so that I'm going to save that and you can have it as a reference, but feel free to use any of the places as long as you remember what it is. Now, as you can see on my side, I have Unity project here. So I do have a folder that I created that's only reserved for my Unity projects. And I advise you to create a folder and drag and drop it to the left so that you have it as a shortcut. Now this is only on Mac and does not happen on PC, but I'm sure there's some kind of a way to do it on PC as well. All right, so I'm gonna save the project here. I click on choose and here it says enable Unity Analytics. Basically, if you have a crash or if you do something weird, this will report it to Unity. And whenever you click on the button, it will tell Unity in which way you do it. Now it's anonymous, so you don't have to worry about it, but I advise you to just put it off because it gives more, it takes more CPU power to do that. The next step is to click on Create Project. Now, as you can see, I did not click on Add Asset Package because we do not need any assets at the moment. So Create Project. All right, so it may take some time. And here we go. This is the Unity interface. Now, do not worry about the fact that you may not have the same color scheme. Right now, mine is some kind of a grayish color with the game selected with a blue background. Yours might be a black background, and this might be whiter or darker. It all depends on which version of Unity and on which computer you are. If you are on Windows, it might be a different version than if you're on the Mac or Linux. But don't worry about it. You can actually go and change that yourself. But we're not going to do it. The reason why we're not going to do it because we don't want to go into too many details. But know that you can go into the preference and you can change the colors. All right? So that's how you would be able to do this. Cool. So in the next lecture, we're going to go deep into the user interface. See you there. Good look at the user interface of Unity. Going back to Unity, what usually we do at first is always open or close a new project or save a new project, or so start with a project that already exists. And if you want to do that, you'll have to go to File and then Open Project. Now, the trick when you open a project with Unity is that you can select one of the projects that you already see here, and if you don't, click on the Open button. So I know it's kind of weird, it's like Open Project and then Open again. And when you open a project, you need to select the actual folder that contains all the stuff inside. Let me show you. I can still drill down and see all the folders and assets of that specific project. Now, there is no solution file, no project files. What you have to do is actually open the project folder, whether you're on Mac, PC, or Linux. That's how you do. You click on it and click on Open. Do not drill down and do not go too far above the project. All right, click on Open, and this will open for you. Now, it will always start by closing the project you have open and then open the new project. All right, here we go. That's it. That's how you get your project started. Now, once you have a project, you want a scene. Now, a scene has a Unity icon, and right now we have the assets. But before we can even open a scene, I want to save this scene. Now, what do I mean by save the scene? So don't worry about the interface. We're going to get there. You can do File, save scene. As soon as you do this, it's going to ask you where do you want to save the scene. Make sure you save your scene inside of my project and then assets, and let's call it my-scene-1 and click on save. As soon as you do this, you will see your scene that appears right here inside of your assets folder. Now, what's exactly a scene? A scene is basically a level. Think about in a game level where you have all the characters, items, environment, bonuses, all inside of that specific scene. And why don't we call it a level if it's a level? Well, because sometimes it's not just a level, it could be multiple levels that are using the same scene. That's what's happening. All right, let's say you want to have a second scene. You can always click back on File, Save Scene As, give it a second name, My Scene-2, and click on Save. And now you are in My Scene 2. How do I know this? Well, if you look in the top center, it says which scene is open, My-Scene-2. Right? So you can go back to the first scene by clicking on My-Scene-1 from the assets. I just clicked on it, and now that I did this, if I look at the name, it says My-Scene-1. So we are in the first scene. All right, so that's how you do to open and close project and scene. And if you want to quit Unity, you can do Command Q, Control Q, or you can always go back to Unity and quit. All right, so the rest, I'm not going to go into details. I'm not going to show you the build settings yet. This is a bit more advanced, but this is the basic functionality of the file menu here. All right, I'll see you guys in the next lecture.